Ciro, a street tough wandering through Buenos Aires, walks past rows of homes fortified with heavy security, surveillance cameras, spike fences, and windows sealed with bars. The neighborhood itself reflects the constant fear of crime. While scanning the street, he notices a sleek, expensive car parked by the curb and decides to make it his target. Realizing the windows are reinforced, he uses a crafty trick, a tennis ball, to pop open the lock. Once inside, he ransacks the interior, swiping anything valuable he can find, including a high-end multimedia system and a fashionable pair of sunglasses tucked away in the upper compartment. When it's time to leave, he discovers the car doors won't open. One by one, he tries them all, but they remain sealed shut. He slams his fists against the glass, then kicks with all his strength, yet the windows refuse to break. Growing desperate, he peels back part of the door's exterior to reach the internal mechanism, only to slash his hand in the process. Determined not to give up, Ciro stabs the door with a screwdriver, but the material is too strong. As his frustration peaks, he pulls out a gun and fires at the windshield. The bullet bounces back, striking his thigh and sending him howling in agony. In panic, he rips his shirt into strips and ties it tightly around the wound to slow the bleeding. Realizing he's trapped, Ciro tries to signal for help. A woman walks by, and for a moment, he thinks she notices him. But instead, she simply uses the car's reflection to apply her lipstick. The windows, it turns out, are not only bulletproof, but also one-way. No one outside can see or hear him. Ciro then desperately leans on the horn, but the car emits no sound. And finally, the woman walks away, oblivious. As a final attempt, he pulls out his phone to call his wife, but before the call connects, the screen goes black. His battery is dead, leaving him alone, wounded, and trapped inside the very car he tried to rob. Ciro keeps thinking about how to escape until night arrives, and due to exhaustion, he decides to rest first. The next day, Ciro starts feeling thirsty and finishes his water bottle, which he brought. Since there's no more water supply, he licks the mist on the glass from the rain that pours over the city. Ciro then reattaches the multimedia device to its place and listens to one of his favorite radio broadcasts, which makes him get carried away by the song played from the broadcast. Coincidentally, the song describes Ciro's current situation inside the car, especially about the misty glass. After a while, Ciro regains his spirit and continues to try breaking the car door. Suddenly, an incoming call comes from a multimedia device, which Ciro answers. A man's voice speaks on the phone and introduces himself as Dr. Ferrari, welcoming him to his car. Ferrari adds that he has been robbed 28 times in his life. He adds that Ciro is the 29th thief who has tried to steal various items from his car. Even so, this makes Ciro angry, and he orders the doctor to free him. But the doctor tells Ciro to shut up and listen to what he wants to say. He tells Ciro that his car is equipped with an alarm connected to his phone, allowing him to lock all doors in an instant. Besides that, the car is bulletproof, including its windows, and the car cannot be moved or shaken from the inside because its active suspension is locked. In addition, the fuel tank can hold up to 120 liters, and it is currently full. So, the doctor warns Ciro not to do anything reckless because the fuel tank can explode like a bomb. As Ciro listens continuously, the doctor tells him that he is now a 60-year-old widower. He confesses that he had a normal childhood in a middle-upper-class family, and the doors of his house were never locked at that time. But now, his life is in a bad condition, and he longed for the happy life he once had when he was a child. He then asks Ciro what he does when he sees his child stealing, but Ciro does not answer and instead threatens to report the doctor to the police. Ciro orders him again to free him so he can kill the doctor and all his family members. Before he can finish his threat, the call is cut off by the doctor. After that, the doctor starts torturing Ciro by turning on the air conditioner to the lowest temperature. Ciro quickly tries to turn it off, but it cannot be turned off. Because of that, he takes the shirt that he uses to wrap his wound and wears it on his body to withstand the cold temperature. Instead, he tears a small part of his pants to wrap his wound. Sometime later, Ciro still feels cold, even though he already wears a shirt and uses the car carpet. At that moment, the doctor calls him again and asks once more what he does if he sees his child stealing. The doctor promises to give him drinking water if Ciro's answer satisfies him. Ciro then answers, but his answer is unsatisfactory for the doctor. Ciro then begs him to stop all of this and admits that he is wrong. But the doctor does not care and tells him about an incident that happened to him. He reveals that a few months ago, two thieves broke into his child's house while his child was parking his car. The doctor adds that he has trained his child to always avoid eye contact with thieves in such situations and always to be prepared with money to give. But in the end, his training was not enough, and the thieves still carried out the robbery while pointing a gun at the doctor's grandson for 3 hours. Although the doctor has shared his story, Ciro seems uninterested and asks what kind of doctor he is, torturing someone by locking them inside the car until now. But the doctor does not answer and instead tells Ciro to guess it himself before ending the call. As Ciro keeps thinking of a way to escape, he sees a police car that notices him, so Ciro tries to get its attention. But unfortunately, he fails, and the police officer is only there to stick a ticket on the car for breaking the law. After some time passes, it starts raining again. Ciro receives another call from the doctor, who asks Ciro for his full name and ID number in exchange for drinking water if he provides the information. Ciro then answers, so he finally gets drinking water after being told the location by the doctor through the rear glass water pipe. Even though the water has a bluish color, Ciro does not care and drinks it to quench his thirst and feel relieved. Although his thirst is gone, Ciro, of course, feels hungry after not eating since yesterday. That night, a cricket manages to enter the car, making Ciro think about eating it. But he decides not to eat it, thinking that the cricket also wants to live. The next day, Ciro checks his wound on his thigh and notices that the bleeding has stopped, but he starts experiencing a fever. Because of that, the doctor decides to ease his suffering by turning on the AC for Ciro so he can feel more relaxed. The doctor then reveals that he is also sick. He has cancer, and the doctors have already told him that he has about a year left to live. As he continues to talk, Ciro opens his shirt and then faints, with his body starting to turn yellow. After waking up again, Ciro opens a car manual book to find a way to escape. However, in the end, he eats the paper because of unbearable hunger before crying over his condition. He then pees into a container to drink his own urine, and he feels that the liquid makes him nauseous. Sometime later, Ciro sees other thugs trying to break into his car, hoping they can free him. However, the thugs get caught by someone else and get beaten up before being handed over to the police. Night falls again, and Ciro starts talking to a cricket that often enters the car. He talks about how some people have a lot of things that should be shared so that everyone can enjoy them. He adds that the world is now full of underprivileged people, with laws made by the rich only to benefit the rich themselves. Because of that, Ciro will not obey them, even if they shoot him down. That is why he becomes a thief, just like his father and grandfather. The next day, the doctor calls him again and reads the news from a newspaper. The doctor tells him that his mood is good, so he guides him to a chocolate bar hidden behind the brake pedal, and Ciro finally gets to eat something proper. After some time passes, and he keeps observing the people outside, Ciro starts trying to make a hole in the door again. He finally manages to make a small hole and shouts to get someone's attention. But in the end, his effort does not bring any results. Feeling weak again, Ciro receives another call from the doctor, who tells him that he has met Ciro's family. This, of course, makes Ciro angry, but the doctor tells him to calm down because he has not done anything bad. He lies to them, saying that he works in some kind of gambling business, and Ciro has won a cash prize of $100,000. His wife, of course, accepts the money the doctor gives, and seeing that Ciro has a beautiful family, the doctor thinks that Ciro does not deserve to have them. The doctor also has Ciro's criminal record, which reveals that he has killed several people, making him feel even weaker inside the car. At night, Ciro sees the cricket again entering the car, so he tells it to go out through the hole in the door. Then, he keeps pressing a button to start the car, and after a while, the car surprisingly turns on. Because of that, Ciro uses this opportunity to escape. However, when he tries to shift the gear forward, it strangely gets stuck. So, Ciro is forced to go in reverse, increasing his speed, and he intentionally crashes into an electric pole. Seeing the weakened back window, Ciro kicks it and finally breaks free from the car. He then keeps walking until he arrives at a store in a nearby gas station and immediately grabs food and drinks from the store. But since he is not paid yet, the security guard tells him to pay, but Ciro ignores him. Because of this, the security guard starts forcing him, and Ciro shoots him. However, it turns out to be just a dream, and he is still inside the car. Not long after that, the doctor calls him, so Ciro asks him to get him out, which the doctor cannot do. He then asks the doctor to look forward, and there comes the doctor, already in front of him, still wearing his hospital work clothes. Since the car smells bad because Ciro has been inside it for too long, the doctor sprays some air freshener before entering the car. After placing Ciro's gun on the dashboard, the doctor receives a call from his child and suddenly, Ciro shoots him. The doctor immediately gets out after that, calling for help in his weakened state. Not long after, the doctor suddenly falls on Ciro, revealing that he is still alive and that the bullet only grazes his cheek. When the doctor tries to take Ciro back to the car, a police officer arrives, witnesses the situation, and orders the doctor to stop. But the doctor explains what really happens and refuses to drop his gun when the officer tells him to. 2 hours pass, and the situation remains the same, with the doctor still holding Ciro while drawing attention from many people and a TV station. A police officer asks the doctor what he wants, and he replies that he does not want anything from Ciro. He only wants to punish him. The doctor then asks the crowd whether he should kill Ciro or hand him over to the police, who might release him the next day. Because of the difficult situation, the police called an expert negotiator named Julio. Mr. Julio asked the doctor to stop his actions because the problem must be about something else, which the doctor confirms. It is about deciding what is fair and what is not. It turns out that half of the people support the doctor in killing Ciro because they're fed up with the high crime rate, while the other half tells the doctor to let him go. After negotiating by talking about many things in life, Mr. Julio asks the doctor to release Ciro because he sees that Ciro has already learned his lesson. If the doctor kills him, he will still be labeled a murderer in the end, and that will not solve his problem. After thinking for a moment, the doctor finally decides to release Ciro, and the police immediately take him away. Even though the problem is resolved, the doctor still holds the gun and instead enters his car with a smile. He then places his phone with a countdown running, which Mr. Julio mistakes for a bomb countdown. So, he tells everyone to step back, and finally, the car explodes. This, of course, shocks many people with the doctor's decision, and Ciro looks sad in the back of the police car over what he has done. The next day, the media talks about the doctor and the incident that happened, emphasizing his strong belief in seeing himself as being on the right side. Everyone discusses the changes that must be made to prevent such incidents in the future and the need for government support. 4EX4 movie ends with Ciro being reported to have received medical treatment, and finally, he is waiting for his trial for what happened. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps.